Okay, very busy day today. I gotta put my mouse down before I step on it. Okay, and I just wanted to talk about scooting. Now, the word scoot was a word that legs look a little fat, huh? Yeah. Anyway, scooting. This is the Dark Horse in Cortland, New York. Great place. Friends of mine own it. Anyway, scooting was an outgrowth of covering, and of course, Jim McNally taught us normal people uh, covering. And covering basically was getting in front of somebody or in front of a defender so that the back could only see you and space. You didn't have a guy hanging off your edge because if you had a guy hanging off your edge, the running back would see him. If he crossed color, he'd get tackled, and it would force him to cut back. We wanted to give him options, so we said, okay, cover him up. And that was, I mean, I learned that from Jim McNally, God, I don't know, 30 years ago. So it's been a big concept. The problem is, how do you get in front of somebody who's not in front of you? Okay, a lot of defenses, shade defenses these days, that man is, heck, he's foot to foot. Foot to crotch, not so hard. His foot in your crotch, but foot to foot, he's not in front of you. Okay, and of course that in our stoplight system that's green light, but still, how do I get in front of this guy? All right, and I'm reading this off a piece of paper. Obviously, you can see it. Okay, it's not a professional production, but hey. Well, anyway, going back through the history of it, the word scoot, a friend of mine used it at Northeastern University, Don Perry, and it meant to kind of move over sideways. And this wasn't exactly the way he did it, but it was kind of a similar idea. And one, we were wishbone at Northeastern, and I had this great player. His name was Mike McElhaney, the beer truck, runaway beer truck, and the backside of wishbone, cutting off that three technique with the backside tackle. Um, One day he did a great job, and he said, "Coach, I think I stepped backwards to get him." Well, that got the wheels rolling. And this was a long time ago. This guy's like 50 years old now, and so we started you know, we started to think about that, and we're stepping backwards. That's no good. But sometimes it is. And if you go back to again Jim McNally, on the clinic circuit, talking about bucket steps and stepping deep and what have you. Okay, the best word I heard for stepping deep is Paul Alexander from the Bengals. I hate to not drop names, but Paul used the word brace, and what that meant to me was that you were stepping deep and you were using this leg as a brace leg in case you got hit. Well, that was beautiful because to me it was just like bracing up a wall that's trying to fall down. You brace it, you buttress it with a 2x4. Okay, and I said, well, that's beautiful. And we started to do that to get in front of people that weren't in front of us because it gave us some depth with our foot. The problem was when we got attacked. Okay, now if a guy is passive, in other words, he's in a jet alignment, he's sort of reading it. We were able to step deep, okay, step deep and get in front of him. Okay, it wasn't very difficult. Okay, step deep, get in front of him, and then gain ground. And everybody was happy. But what used to happen was when a guy attacked us, and in jet alignments, chances are that guy's there for a reason. Okay, he's going to jet across and penetrate. So going back to I don't know, about 6 years ago, uh, I was at Elon University as the offensive line coach, and we had a guy named Rod Austin who was a great player for us. And we kind of, we do this one-on-one stuff, and I hate one-on-ones, I think it's ridiculous. For me, I would just scrimmage, do 2 minute, that kind of stuff. But we do this one-on-ones with the defense. And this kid was a great player. And he never got beat. And nobody, you say, well, what the heck, it's Rod. Who's going to beat him? But I started to really look at what he was doing. And, the defensive guys are just trying to panic. They don't give a crap. There's no ball carrier. And he'd block them all. And I started to look and see what he was doing. And what he was doing, essentially, I'm going to use this chair as a defender. He was stepping deep, just like I was teaching him, okay? And then he was stepping deep again. And he was managing more times than not to get in front of a guy that wasn't in front of him, that was attacking him. Okay, now you notice this tape on the floor here. Okay, I just want to go through this because a lot of guys will train offensive linemen and they let them line up so that they're like face mask to face mask. And if you're a center, sometimes that happens, especially if you don't have a good stretch on the ball. But for the most part, you want to have some sort of a neutral zone. So I would advise everybody, this is up to you, but this is what I do. I try to do it. Have a tip of the ball line here. There was the nose of the ball. Have a tail of the ball. Tell the defensive guy he cannot line up. I don't care if he lines up backwards, but he cannot line up with his head or hands past that first line. The offensive player, unless he's a center, the center can put his hands between the lines. The offensive player should have his hand, and us, it's a 2-point stance, at least the last couple of years I've been doing it. And we want to have a heel line. We don't want our hand to be past the back tip of the ball. So there's a front tip, a back tip, and a heel line. And the heel line's important now. All right, don't neglect the heel line because it's for you more than for them. And what you want to do, okay, if you're talking about the scoot, the Rodney Austin scoot, okay, you want to have a defensive player. You really don't want to do this on air. Okay, you want to have a defensive player either with a med ball. I got a med ball right here. Maybe I should use this as a defensive guy. Okay. You want to use a med ball, and you want to attack the line of scrimmage just like what you're trying to defeat. You want to have that defensive player attack the line of scrimmage. We generally held the med ball for this like so. Okay, so that they're being exposed. In other words, the blocker would be coming from this side, okay, and he'd have a very limited access to the ball as opposed to this, which are more like drills. And of course, whenever we could do it live, we did it live. Okay, we do it live against our own guys. The defensive guys never cooperate. And they want to win. But anyway, with live bodies. Okay, so you want a heel line, you want a back tip and a front tip. You want the defensive player attacking the line of scrimmage. Okay, and of course he's not going to be quite that far. That would be a real jet. Okay, so he's foot to foot. I'm going to get this football out of the way because we know what that is. Okay, basically the chair leg and the feet of this guy are back here somewhere. But when he jets, he's going to be like this. He's going to be in the neutral zone. Okay? When he jets, when he snaps and comes across, he's going to be in that neutral zone. Okay? He's going to get his body in. Now, his feet are still behind him, but he's going to get his body in. So what we want to do, and I really can't do this properly with the teeter and everything, okay? But what we want to do is initiate the teeter with the first step, and the first step's got to get deep because there's no way for me to step at this man and get in front of him. I can drive him out, but the back has to go that way. He might fight me and jump in, and the back, bounce plays, things like that. I get it. But what we're saying is we want to run the ball with this man covered. We don't want that back to see anything except our butt and space on either side and the next blocker. Okay? So what we want to do is get the first step across the heel line, get that defensive guy going, get the second step across the heel line, and I can't do it without falling because that's the nature of it. I'm removing both of my gravity fighters, both of my columns, and turning them into buttresses. And essentially, it's just like I'm sprawling if I was a wrestler. I step deep, I can hold that. I step deep again, and I have to go. I have to hit something. Now, there's a couple of things you got to understand. If that man is playing aggressively with momentum, the scoot is the way to go. A lot of times you're not going to get in front of him, but you're going to stretch him so far, you're going to make contact with him quickly. And this is where the mixed hands comes in. As you go for that first step, you want to have that straight timer. You want to be able to get to that man, put something on him quickly, and then scoot him with the other hand. Okay? But you don't want to be short. And if you try to do it with two hands, you're going to get turned. You want to go one hand. You want to go right here, a long arm and a strong arm. One arm, two. Okay? Now, there's a couple of things about that. If he happens to be passively resisting, in other words, he's sort of reading, he might be running away from you. Well, there's the scoot. There's no reason for the scoot. But you'll know that on the first step. Go get him. Go get him. All right? Attack passive defenders. Go get him. Run off the ball. Okay, but if he's an aggressive defender, okay, if he's trying to penetrate, there's no way for you to lead step and get in front of him. You can block him, you just can't get in front of him. There's no way for you to brace and then go get him because you can't get in front of him. But when you scoot, you can get him. A lot of times you'll get in front of him, especially if he's a little tighter, if he's more of a foot to crotch guy. And again, what I'm saying to you is this. When you go to in our stances, by the way, our 2-point stance, I'm not into all this crap. Okay, you know, I mean, we're in basically a 3-point stance. Tackles, they're like this. They're staggered. This guy's already got his foot behind the heel line, so he doesn't really have to step that deep, and he can go a little faster. If this man is way out, like a true jet, okay, now what we would do, we can't scoot from the get-go even if he penetrates. Now we'd shuffle and then scoot. Okay, chances are a jet, you're not going to get in front of it. But if you turn right away and he goes this way, you're going to miss him. So what we want to do is shuffle and then go get him. A lot of times we're going to trap him out. Every once in a while he'll be passive. Sometimes he'll be aggressive to the inside. If he's aggressive to the inside and we're playing him properly, whoop, Lady Gaga, crowd surf. Pass him to the next guy, stay square, look for the linebacker. Okay, the trick though, again, one long arm, not two, because two turns you. One long arm, the stop sign, that turns into a stiff arm if it has to be, and then the power arm, the hook. Okay, it could be a throw, could be a lift. Okay, that is scooting. Okay, that is scooting. Rodney Austin, Mike McElhaney, Don Perry, Paul Alexander, Jim McNally. All those guys, over a period of 30 years, went into the scoot. But Rodney Austin, at least for me, was the guy that showed me how to do it. And I want to mention one more guy, Jesse James, who plays for the Steelers. The concept of playing long, of using this thing as a shock absorber and a protector. And again, if I have to go travel to this man, if I'm back here like this, not playing long, and I got to move a lot further to make contact. Here, I'm going to make some contact. And if you ever watch Major League Baseball, and usually people do at this time of the year, when a guy swings a bat and misses the ball, that's strike one. It doesn't matter how good he swings. It doesn't matter how sweet it looks. Okay? If he misses, he misses. But the guy that puts the bat on the ball got a chance to get on base. Okay? Scooting, once again, don't do it on air. Use a player or a player with a ball. Make that player aggressive. You know, we don't really practice the go get them at phase of it. We could do that. You know, they just have to know that they can go gain ground if the guy's being passive. Okay? Make sure you have your 3 lines. The heel line, first step's got to get deep enough. Okay? In order to get wide, you have to get deep. The wider he is, the wider you have to get, the deeper you have to go. Okay? We say covering means that you've crossed this guy's midline with your stripe. Your helmet stripe has gone across his helmet stripe. So you're sort of a little bit to the outside, but not much. You don't want to uncover this way either. Obviously, being unfundamental with footwork, big steps, what have you, not good. Okay? It'll work sometimes. I shouldn't say not good. It will work sometimes, but sometimes it won't. And when you have an aggressive defender who's penetrating, okay, if he's jetting, like sprint, you're not going to get in front of him anyway. But if he's just he's looking to make contact with you so he doesn't fall down. I'm talking about the good player, the guy that really knows what he's doing. Okay? That guy, you scoot him. Boom, boom, and go get him. Okay? Scoot. Okay? Don't do this in the middle of the season, fellas. This is October. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But if you want to talk about it, give me a call. If you want to look into it, there's players at coaches at every level that are using this. The scoot. Okay? That's it. That's all I got for you. Turn this rascal off.